What's going on, guys? It's KP and I'm coming in with a $450 budget build. This is not a gaming build, it is more of a video editing build, so that's basically taking any other build and then just making the graphics card cheaper and using that money to expand on other products of the build. So, without further ado, let's get right into this. So the first product of this build is going to be the NZXT Source 210 Elite Midtower case with 3.0 USB. This comes in two colors, black and white. It only runs for about $40 or so it's not too expensive. You can obviously get a cheaper case if you'd like. You don't need a huge case for video editing, so if you prefer a smaller case, that's fine, because we will be using a micro ATX motherboard in this build. And even a small graphics card, so don't worry about that too much. The case, it's more as up to you. The processor that we will be using in this build is the FX 6300 6-core processor, Black Edition. It does not matter what model you choose to use as long as it's 6 cores. Having those 6 cores is really an essential thing when it comes to video editing. This processor doesn't have too much or too many technologies, unlike Intel's line of processors, but it does have 6 cores, and 6 cores, that's just incredibly good for a processor for about $120. It's 3.5 gigahertz and 1.1 gigahertz overdrive, so of course you can overclock this if you'd like, and you get that extra performance, especially heading into the future here. But a 4-core processor, that just won't do it. Quad-core, it's more of an intermediary processor now. And as we head into the future, you're going to want that 6-core to do your video editing. But for gaming and mainstream stuff, a dual-core or even a 4-core, they're still pretty sustainable. The motherboard we will be using for this build is the Asus M5A78LM-LX Plus AM3 motherboard. So that, of course, is going to match our processor, the FX 6300. The motherboard is unlockable, so you're able to overclock your the FX 6300 if you'd like to, which a lot of people I'm sure will, because it's a very overclockable processor. That's what one of the things it's known for, but I wouldn't recommend it. I like to keep my processors cool, keep them steady. You don't want to overclock if you don't need to, unless you're really heading into the future and you get a better cooler and rather than a stock cooler. But let's continue with the motherboard. Some more information. It does max out at 8 gigabytes of RAM, 2 DIMM slots. We will be only using one DIMM slot, one 8 gigabyte stick of RAM, because that is about $10 cheaper rather than getting dual channel RAM. And so it does support integrated ATI Radeon 3000, so that excludes your need for a graphics card, but I wouldn't suggest it, so I did include a graphics card in this build, because ATI Radeon 3000, it's a bit outdated. This motherboard overall is a bit outdated, but it only runs at about $50 or so that is a pro. And it does have other technologies like keeping it protected from surges and stuff like that. Everything you'd expect from a quality motherboard. And so that's about it. Let's move on to the next product. This is the RAM we will be using for the build. It is one stick of 8 gigabytes of Vengeance RAM. So like I said, we won't be using those 2 DIMM slots. If you want to spend the extra $10, you can definitely get 2 4 gigabyte sticks of RAM, because our motherboard does max out at 8 gigabytes. Its speed is 1600 megahertz, so of course that's definitely a good thing. And you can overclock it with the technology of our motherboard. So if you'd like to do that, you can, because 8 gigabytes, it's really a vital thing when you're doing video editing. You don't want to go down to 4, and RAM has gotten really expensive lately because of some reason I don't remember right now. But that's about it. Let's move on to the next. Here's our graphics card, the EVGA GeForce GT 610. It runs at about $40. It has 1 gigabyte of memory to go along with it. It's not your top-of-the-line graphics card. You can definitely buy something better than this if you'd like, especially if you want to do gaming or something. But it's only $40, and for a small graphics card as it is, it's going to prove you wise to buy it for video editing. So that's about it. Moving on to the next product. For your hard drive, we will be using a portable hard drive. It runs at about $80. It is the Western Digital My Passport hard drive. It says it's recommended with Windows 8 and Mac and stuff, but don't worry about that. It'll run on most operating systems. It's 1 terabyte, and it supports USB 3.0. Cloud backup has certain technologies to go along with it. Don't worry about that too much, but if you're doing video editing, you definitely want to be able to bring information with you if you go somewhere else or move it from computer to computer. And next, I'm just going to include it here. We have our power supply, Corsair 430. It's certified. It doesn't really matter what power supply you get, as long as it's certified and it's about the price point of $40 or so. So that's about it, guys. This is a budget build. One of the things I forgot to include, though, is the DVD writer. They're about 20 bucks on Amazon. You can buy them anywhere. It's really not a big deal which one you get. And with that, I just want to end this video. Thanks for watching. It's KP, and I'm signing out.